My name is Nick Palmer. I'm standing as an independent candidate in the Selby and Ainsty by-election. My reasons for standing really come about because over a number of years, a number of elections, I've become increasingly fed up with politics and the manner in which politics is conducted. I'm not alone. I've spoken to hundreds of people in that same situation, and I figured, well, I can shout at the telly some more, or I can do something about it. So in the spirit of democracy, I thought I'd stand as a candidate. I didn't choose a particular party because I think the party system is actually a root cause for a lot of the problems that we have. A lot of the reasons people are fed up with politics boil down to the fact we've got a party political system that essentially frustrates democracy, and I wanted to speak out against that. Yes, I've got a real interest in driving change. My professional skill set, my career is as a business owner and as a business consultant. So I'm a big advocate of something called lean thinking, which is a business discipline that comes from the automotive manufacturing sector. And it's designed to try and achieve more with less and improve efficiency in any process, cutting out waste wherever there is waste. So what drives me as I turn my attention to politics is to say, how can this be done better? Because it's clearly not working for people. Voters do not feel satisfied with what they get. And I wanted to see if I could introduce some external thinking, puncture the Westminster bubble to try and get a new light on the processes that clearly aren't working. Yes, I do. I think there is a lack of innovative thinking. You mentioned railways, of course, a hot topic for a lot of people, certainly in the Selby area right now, is the fact that the train station is one of many across the country to potentially lose its ticket sales office. They will no longer be manned or staffed by humans, and it's going to be automated ticket machines. Now, my view as a lean thinker is, well, the huge complexity of train tickets in this country mean that introducing that change is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very unwelcome by members of the public. So my view about lean thinking is, well, let's get somebody in politics or in Westminster whose focus is not party politics, but whose focus is to try and work out how citizens can get the best from the processes that they must endure each day. The ticket example is a perfect one. If you can't get a ticket easily in the current situation, if you can't understand the complexity of the ticketing system, then you're going to be frustrated. And that's a good example. Another example of a similar sort of theme is those mobile payment apps for car parking. Well, that's fine if you have a mobile, that's fine if you have a signal, that's fine if you are comfortable using apps to make a payment. But if you're none of those things, then you just get frustrated. And society, sadly, is moving in the direction of solutions and processes that are imposed on citizens that frankly don't suit the citizens. They might suit the people who are designing the systems, but they don't suit the people on the other end of them. And I fear politics is like that. We get a binary choice, red or blue, and if we don't like it, then suck it up. And that's why there are so many hundreds, thousands, millions of people who are fed up with politics, because whatever engagement they try and show, they don't sense that they're getting heard or listened to. Yes, I think there is a confusion. I'm definitely not suggesting that we need to tear up the processes that we have and start again. I don't know what the processes to replace them, to improve them might be. My candidacy is all about highlighting the fact that politics is broken. People are disengaged, and as voters, as citizens, we don't get a satisfactory outcome. We get what the parties want for themselves, and we have to decide whether we're prepared to put up with it or not. So all of the issues that are current, cost of living, immigration, the boats, infrastructure, they are all issues that could be addressed through the sort of thinking and political will that I'm talking about. So I've got huge confidence that somebody in Parliament who's trying to investigate, review, shine a light on the broken politics will be welcome addition to what we have. Something like the cost of living, multiple causes, the tendency is to try and find blame. And I don't think that's helpful, because in an issue of such complexity, there are a number of contributing factors. To try and identify one cause is to give false hope. And we don't want false hope. We want politicians who are best efforts trying to resolve the issue. And in the tribal setup that we have, we don't get best efforts. We get posturing and tribal toxic politics. And that's not helping anyone. Yes, I personally think an independent voice is precisely what is required right now. I don't hear anybody on the doorstep telling me that they're delighted with what we have. Possibly they think along the lines of needing to vote tactically. I have to vote for X in order to prevent Y. And whilst that's a popular theme, I'm not sure it's helpful, because democracy is power to the people. That's what it means. If we think as individuals we need to vote to deny other voters, then for me that's simply evidence of broken democracy. I think the lesson from Brexit, as regrettable as that situation was you've got to listen to the electorate. Not what you think the electorate might have told you, but what the electorate actually told you. And I think part of the collapse in faith and trust in politics is due to the run up to the 2019 election and possibly the conduct of the election. I think we've got to realise that politics is a complex issue. There are multiple issues in any 5-year electoral cycle, and we can't really expect a binary choice to be a satisfactory answer to the complexity of the modern world. Everything that's happened since the 2019 election suggests to me that we need to review how we conduct politics, how we use the process of democracy, if the electorate are to feel greater value from it. I think my view on local politics is that by default people view it in much the same lens as they view national politics. The issues that are important to them, of course, are necessarily local, but the frustration that people feel is in evidence at local level as well. I've spent some time looking at the minutes for various town and parish councils in the region, and the issues that I think are a problem at the national level are a problem at the local level. Planning is a constant nuisance for most settlements in this constituency. What I consider to be broken politics is a problem for those villages and towns in the constituency. The public engagement with those various meetings is low, and I think we kid ourselves if we conclude we have a functioning democracy. The process evolves, democracy takes place, but the level of public engagement is, I think, chronically low, and we all suffer as a result. This is in part why I refer in a lot of my material to the Westminster bubble, because I think the media do have a responsibility in this situation. It's all very Westminster-centric politics. We get essentially told that it's a binary choice when, as this by-election shows, there are many different views on offer. But because voters are persuaded that it's a binary choice, they feel that independent candidates aren't working hard or can't offer a solution. And I disagree. I think they can do both of those things. So I think that the media do have an obligation to represent the breadth of views, which I don't think takes place at the moment. I think, well, certainly at a local level, I'm picking up that the people are disengaged. Very close to where I live in the constituency, we've had a very large settlement plan as part of the Harrogate Borough Council local plan, which has been rumbling on for a number of years, and the most recent development is that it's on hold. Nobody quite knows why or how or for how long. But when I've attended public meetings to discuss this or find out more about this, the local government structure has essentially meant, well, we hear what you say, but we're doing what we were going to do anyway. And I think that's an example of why people are fed up. The processes that run local government, national government, don't seem responsive or flexible to the citizens' needs. That's not to say that I had an axe to grind and it was denied to me. It's just to say that what is the point of people engaging if, when they go through the process respectfully, they get told, well, thank you for coming, but anyway, we were going to do this anyway. So there is a problem at local and national level, and very definitely the numbers of people who are disengaged, I think, far exceed what we imagine. Even the constituencies are based on the number of people who register to vote. Well, if you don't register to vote, and there are practical reasons why you would anyway, regardless of voting, but if you don't register to vote, or if you don't turn up to vote, we don't know as a society why you aren't engaging. So there's no measurement of why people don't engage with politics, and that means we can't get a better politics because nobody's listening. If a main party win this by-election, they will stand there and tell us that any votes that were cast in frustration are a ringing endorsement of their politics. And simply, they won't be a ringing endorsement. It'll be people who are so fed up that they've put a cross in a box in the hope that no damage will be done. But it is not democracy. It is not politics. There's no understanding of the scale of voter disaffection. I think that's really dangerous. I've spoken wherever possible with people of all ages about politics, and disproportionately the older the voter, the more respect and engagement they have for the process of voting, would be my observation. I sat on Saturday and spoke with a group of people, which included a young person who was doing politics at A-level. They weren't yet old enough to vote, but whilst they were studying it as an A-level, they didn't feel engaged in it as a voter. And there are many young people that I've spoken to who are like that. Well, what's the point? Of course, there are lots that are engaged. And in fact, the by-election's got two candidates standing who are both what I would consider to be, the youth. And good luck to them. Fantastic. It's great that there are people in that generation who are engaged. But my observation, largely, that generation is one that feels excluded by politics. The reason that I'm standing is because I believe I can deliver a message on the back of a by-election win. Most of the challenger candidates in this election will make promises and pledges and plans that require a general election win. We aren't having a general election until 2024. This by-election is largely pointless. Other than finding a new MP, it won't be a result that changes anything at Westminster. We'll still have Rishi as Prime Minister, we'll still have Sir Keir as Leader of the Opposition. And in that situation, in that context, most of the promises and pledges are meaningless because they cannot be delivered as a result of this by-election. So whilst there are fantastic candidates looking to stand, they're looking to deliver a general election promise, and that's not possible here. My promise, which is essentially to tell Westminster, do better, get better at politics, engage more voters, is something that can be delivered on the strength of a by-election win. That's why I think I make a difference as a candidate. I've also got the professional skill set to be able to implement the sort of review and process that I think is needed if we're to get a better grade of politics. So my message, do better Westminster, can be delivered on Friday the 21st of July in a way that most promises and most party promises simply can't.